Well, hello again and welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, my name is Zoe. Here on YouTube I'm Ignite Artistry and welcome to my channel. Now today we're going to be doing another sort of Halloween themed look. It's going to be based off of the Inferi. I'll put the word here. So basically I bulk bought some contact lenses from a place called Coloured Contacts, and one of them are their white blind contacts. I'm pretty sure I had a plan for them at some point, but I forgot. So I've been wanting to base a look on the white blind contacts and couldn't think what to do with them. So I asked my good friends, and they're geniuses, they're smarter than I am. They came up with an idea for me. So it's going to be somewhere in between an Inferi and like a drowned kind of sea siren kind of thing, you know. Anyway, if you enjoy all things spoopy, if you enjoy makeup, then please carry on watching. Now, as you can see, I do have wet hair. I actually showered today. I washed my hair, so for the purposes of this video, or this particular look, I am going to have wet hair because it kind of fits in with the look. It's kind of drying really quickly right now, but yeah, we can wet it down again later. Hopefully for this video, I have a slightly different setup than what I normally do. I'm not sat on my bed, which is directly behind me. I am actually sat on a chair, so hopefully there'll be less going in and out of focus. Fingers crossed, touch wood. Hopefully it'll be a bit more stable and I'll stay in one place so the camera doesn't have trouble seeing where I am or what I'm doing. Anyway, so for this particular look, this is going to be a tutorial. So like I did in my last one, I will do my best to walk you through, talk you through, let you know what I'm doing. I'll probably end up doing, for the eyebrow and eye portion of the makeup, I'll do one side of my face and show you what I'm doing and what products I'm using. I'll go off camera, do the other side, just so it doesn't get very long and boring. I know the last video was edging on 40 minutes. Hopefully some of you survived watching it for that long. I'll list everything I use down below. I'll put a link to the company for the contact lenses down below, and all that jazz. So first thing I'm going to do, the first thing I always tend to do with beauty makeup for me is my eyebrows. I can't put foundation on then do my eyebrows because they'll just go all over the show and end up looking rubbish, and then I'll have to fiddle with the foundation, fiddle with the concealer, and it will just look a total mess. So first thing we're going to do, this is the BPerfect Carnival XL Pro palette with Stacey Marie. This came from Beauty Bay. Oh, it is a beautiful palette, honestly. It's just a utter rainbow of colours. Now the main colour palette I'm going to go for today is sort of a greeny with potentially hints of purple and blue, to sort of go for that drowned look. But this, if I show you the palette, you can see just how many colours there are in here, and there's some really nice green tones which we're going to be using mainly for this video. I'm also going to be using the greens to do my eyebrows. In actual fact, I just had a genius idea. I was going to be using this palette for my eyebrows and then realised I have this eye pencil. So, oh, that's upside down. This is one of the NYX pencils. So this is the NYX Cosmetics Slide On, Glide On, Stay On, and definitely a Turn On Extreme Shine eyeliner. So it is basically an eyeliner pencil. They're really nice, I love them. This is called Tropical Green, and I have sharpened it to a nice point, so this should be fairly good for filling in my eyebrows. So I don't have a particular method for filling in my eyebrows, I just kind of do it. So I will do my eyebrow, put some primer on, and then we'll be back to go through the eye makeup. Okay, So obviously with this being an eyeliner pencil, it is going to go blunt quicker. So if I just show you, I've managed to take off the very tip because it's quite a soft pencil, which is really nice for it being an eyeliner pencil. Obviously it's not made for eyebrows, but when I'm doing sort of avant-garde abstract looks, I prefer to use different things for my eyebrows than just like a pomade or a specially made eyebrow pencil. I really like how it's turned out. I like that it's, normally I do fairly thick full eyebrows for a look like this, but I quite like the sharp thin detail that we've got going on. So I will leave that for the eyebrow. Now for my eye primer, now personally I don't use concealer as primer. I always used to, and occasionally I still do, but recently I've been watching a lot of Robert Welch's YouTube videos. I will put a link to him down below because he is just amazing. He is a professional makeup artist, as in it is his paid profession, and he's just taught me so many things over like the past couple of months really, but I really enjoy his channel. He's really informative and helpful. So I tend to use actual eye primers to obviously make my eyeshadow last longer. I use them to carve out my brows. Yeah, anyway, so I'm going to be using the MAC Paint Pot in the shade Painterly. I'm going to use it to both carve my eyebrow and also to prime my eyelid for letter shadow. Now then, what brush is going to be best? Okay, so to carve my brows, I'm going to use this Zoeva 322. Don't know if it's really focusing on that. Anyway, it's a Zoeva 322. It's called Brow Line. Now then, just going to dip it in my pot. Now the Painterly paint pot is quite thick, almost waxy consistency, but it's really nice as a primer. I mean, it keeps everything on all day. I'm trying not to hold my mirror directly in front of my face. Come on, camera. There we go. So I'm just really gently carving out the brow. I'm not going for anything like crazy structure wise. I just want to sharpen up the edge of that brow, the inner edge, which I think we've done really nicely. So anything that is left on my brush, I'm just gonna paint that down. Okay, so I'm going to be using that Painterly paint pot as an eyeshadow primer as well. So let's have a little look here. So I'm going to be using the Zoeva 142 Concealer Buffer. It would probably helpful if you can see the bristles. There you go. So I'm just going to be using this as well as the Painterly. Just going to, not too much, a little bit goes quite a long way. You don't need to pile it on like there's no tomorrow, but I'm just going to put that on the rest of my lid and sort of press it in, buff it in, blend out the harsh line that we've got on the brow. Bring it out to the outer edges as well, because if we're doing a look that's really gonna sort of be blended out, then you want to put your primer wherever your eyeshadow is gonna go. Okay, I'm happy with that eyeball. Lovely. Now, like I say, almost every single time you see me on my channel, I wing things here. I would really like to get more into doing face charts. and planning some of the looks that I do. But generally for me, makeup is just about expression, having a bit of fun, trial and error, just doing whatever you want really. So like I say, I tend to wing it. I don't have a plan for this look. I mean, I have a vague plan in my head. But when it comes to things like specific colours of eyeshadow, specific placement, I just kind of roll with it. So that's what we're going to be doing. So like I say, I'm going to be using this lovely palette here. Now, like I say, I'm going for a sort of big blended out green look, hopefully. I'm probably going to start, so I'm going to start with some lighter colours at the top, going down into darker colours so we can get a nice blend. So I think the one, ooh, yes, okay, so the colour that I'm going to go into first is this one right here. This lovely bright green. The camera's still focusing on my face. Focus on the palette. This one here. This colour is called Ecstasy. Now, also I'm trying super hard to not hold this directly in front of my face so you can actually see what I'm doing. Now this is the Zoeva 228 Luxe Crease. Just show you there. So I'm going to be doing just that. I'm going to be picking up this colour Ecstasy, tapping a little bit off on my mirror, and then I'm going to go into the crease. So, in fact, I'm going to go just above the crease, I lie. So, just real gentle back and forth motions. Obviously, there's not a lot of colour coming off on there, so we're going to go in again. You always want to start with too little than too much. You're always able to build up colour. It's very hard to take it away. So, again, just above that crease, sort of coming right out to the edge of the eyebrow. Just using sort of back and forth motions, as well as little circular motions. Blending is all about taking your time. That's something I've had to learn the hard way. It's not something that comes naturally to me. I just kind of played around until I got the effect I wanted, really. You know, it didn't come naturally to me. It didn't come easily. I've been playing around with makeup for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years at this point. But, like I say, start with too little, carry on building until you get the effect that you want. Now then, I quite like that. Now I've taken it all the way up to the eyebrow, as you can see. There's not much of a gap. I've taken it all the way up to the brow, which is fine because this is going to be a fairly dramatic look anyway, so I do want to make it quite big and bold. Now I'm going to take a slightly smaller brush. I think I'm going to go in with the Zoeva 321. No, that's wrong. So now I'm going to go in with a slightly darker colour. I'm going to go in with the Zoeva 231 Luxe Petite Crease. It looks like this. Trying to multitask and failing miserably. And then we're going to go in with this colour just above. So we're going to go in with the Hype. So let's draw that. I'm going to go more in the crease. Obviously with that light green I went from the crease all the way up to the brow bone. With this colour, the Hype, I'm going to put it more just inside the crease. So you can see obviously where my crease sits because there's a little line just there. So I tend to raise my eyebrow just a little and tuck the brush into the crease. Again, starting off with less than I want. Tucking it right down in there into the inner corner as well. That is looking lovely. Bringing that colour up just slightly. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do is going to go back into that first colour again. I'm going to go into Ecstasy and just blend the two together a little bit more. Not too much, just to bring some of that light green back into it. Perfect. I am really happy with how that is looking at the moment. It's looking lovely. Now then, I think what I'm going to do for I'm going to do the inner and outer corners, do a little bit of halo look. I'm going to put the colour, so it's like a nice teal colour. I'll show you. So this colour just here. This one. So that is called Nuke. I'm going to put that on the inner and outer corner and blend it out into that green, just so we've got a little bit more dimension in there as well. Okay, I'm really happy with how that looks. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is on the inner portion of the eye, I'm going to be using, let's have a little look. So this is, let's have a look. Beauty Bay's Liquid Crystal Eyeshadow. This is in the colour Malachite. That does this. It's sort of beautiful greeny tealy colour, perfect for this look we've got going on today. So ooh, that is lovely. So I'm just going to put that on the inner portion of the eye, so just right in the centre, just a little spotlight. Never managed to put eyeshadow on without doing this. Come on camera, focus. Right. And then with the colour Nuke on the pencil brush, I'm just going to blend it into the inner and outer edges of the eye. Just with a tapping motion. Distribute it into the crease. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Perfect. And then again, a little bit more of that Nuke colour. Just darkening up the inner portion and the outer portion of the eye. Perfect. Brilliant. Okay, I'm really happy with that. Now, I don't tend to do my under eyes, so the bottom lash line with shadow until I have put my face on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the other eye off camera, and then we'll be back to do the rest of the face. Now, for foundation, I have never used this before. This is the NYX Cosmetics Total Control Drop Foundation. Now, this is absolutely not my colour. I purchased the lightest colour I could possibly find. So there is that. Now, obviously, for the purposes of today's look, I want my skin to look quite translucent, pearlescent, quite pale, because it's obviously giving the illusion that I am deceased slash drowned. So I purposely bought one that was not my skin colour, so just FYI. I also purchased the brush, so this is the Total Drop Control brush. I thought it would be quite appropriate to use the appropriate brush with the appropriate foundation. Normally I do use a beauty blender, that is my go-to product, and I do have one here just in case I need it. But like I say, for the purposes of this, I will be using this combination right here. So let's see how we get on with this. So I'm just gonna, oops, a daisy, that was hardly anything. I am just gonna literally dribble it straight onto the brush and see how we go. Let's have, oh, hello. Oh, it's a really soft brush, that is really nice. Now obviously, as you can see, this is not my skin tone in the slightest. I'm trying not to go too far under the eyes. I'll put some on my ears as well, because I will be putting a little bit of concealer on. So obviously this is quite a nice alternative if you don't have FX products, if you don't have FX makeup, is to just purchase a foundation that is far, far lighter than your actual skin tone. And this is looking really nice. I like that. I actually also really like the brush, funny enough. I don't normally use foundation brushes, I don't know why. But the brush is so soft and it is coming up really nicely. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of my face. I'm just going to cover the rest of my face. I might go down my neck and onto my chest a little bit because there will be some detailing down there, hopefully as part of the look. But I'll see how I feel. So I'll continue, do the rest of my face, and then we'll be back. Alrighty then, so as you can see, I have done the entirety of my face. I've also come all the way down. I am wearing clothes, by the way, just FYI, but I've come all the way down to my chest. I've done just my shoulders, just sort of this portion here, because we're going to do some shading to sort of mimic where the sort of chest would be, ribs would be, things like that. I've also put a little bit of concealer on. I used the Jeffree Star Magic Star concealer in the shade C2, nice and light, just to add a little bit of highlighting, nothing too crazy. Like I say, we want to be fairly pale for the purposes of this look. So let's get started with the under eyes. Now then, I'm going to be using the same palette and the same colours and the same brushes for the under eyes. Let's have a look. So I think the first thing I want to do is go in, I'm going to go in with the 230 Luxe pencil brush. Again, I'm going to take the shade Nuke and I'm going to go just in this outer portion, following the sort of wing that we've got going on. Yes, I'm going to use the 231 Luxe Petite Crease. I'm going to put that back into colour The Hype and just blend it out a little bit. It's if it blends down quite far, that's absolutely fine. This is a fairly, like I say, dramatic look anyway. So let's just blend this out. So I'm just sort of going almost over the top and below where we put that darker colour. Perfect, and then again I'm just going to go back in with a little bit of the darker colour Nuke, just to darken it down once again. It's quite handy to always go back and forth between colours, just to make sure that you've got a nice blend going on. perfect. I am really happy with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the other under eye, get that done, and then what we'll do is we'll come back and start doing some sort of contouring and shading with some nice green colours. Alrighty, the eyes are done. I am really liking how this turned out. I am super pleased. Sometimes it's quite hard to work with greens, but we are looking not too bad. So what I'm going to do next is some contouring and a little bit of highlighting. Now, obviously this is sort of an abstract, inferi, drowned look. So I'm going to be contouring using the same eye colours. I really like this colour palette, and I think if we stick to this colour palette it will look nice and cohesive. So I'm going to be taking, this is a Unicorn Cosmetics brush. Oh, just look how beautiful it is. Oh. But it's got quite a nice point to the brush. So I think it'll be quite nice to sort of hollow out the cheeks. This is the UC084. It could be a 3, but it looks like an 8, so we're going to go with 8. And I'm going to, now then, I'm going to start with fairly soft colours and then build up to the darker ones. So in actual fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the colour Y though, this one. I'm going to start the contouring there because I'd rather start with a lighter colour and build up to the darker ones than slap a dark one on and just ruin the whole thing. So dip that in. Now I am going to pull the face to do this contouring. It's going to be fairly dramatic contouring, so I'm going to pull the face. Excuse me. And what I'm going to do is, because you do want to find where your cheekbones are, obviously mine, if you can feel them, mine are just here. So I'm going to pull in, I'm also going to come down here to create a sort of hollowed out look, because we're going for dramatic. Cool. So I'm going to go in with the colour, I think, Showboat next, which is a slightly darker bluey green. So let's do that. Again, I'm tapping off my brush every time I put it in a colour, just so I'm not depositing a huge amount of colour in one go. So then again, blend out the edges with this. Lovely. Now, an even smaller brush. This is perfect. So I'm going to take the Zoeva Luxe Definer Crease Brush. There we go. So this is number 224. I'm going to go into the colour Nuke from the same palette and just really define the cheekbones. Alrighty then, so I've added some shading. So I've added some more shading around my forehead, around the cheeks. Obviously it doesn't have to be super realistic. Like I say, this is not a super realistic look like a lot of the things that I do. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add some shading to the chest. So when it comes to contouring and shading, you're basically adding darker colours to where the recesses are. So if you manipulate your shoulders, you can see that this area here is going to be darker. And then this area in here, if you feel, it's going to be darker. And then underneath, sort of where, like areas where your ribs would be, if you think about where light and shade falls, that's where you want to put it. So I'm going to be using the Zoeva 224 Luxe Defined Crease, this one here. And I'm going to be using the shade Showboat. So obviously this also has a little bit of the darker colour Nuke on it, but I'm going to be using Showboat. So I'm just going to manipulate my shoulders so I can see where these darker recess areas are going to be, and then you can use highlighter to obviously highlight areas that are more prominent, like your collarbone. Alrighty, so as you can see, I've added some highlighter. So I used the Artist Couture, come on, focus. There we go. The Artist Couture Diamond Glow Powder. This is in the shade Mermaid Fantasy. Appropriate. I've added quite a lot. Obviously there's some on my forehead. Focus. There's some on my nose, cheeks. I've also added some to the high points of the chest. I wanted the skin to look fairly ethereal, wet. I don't know, I just wanted to have a sheen to it for it to look pearlescent. So it's a really nice colour because it's sort of obviously got a greeny tinge to it, so it suits the look quite well. I also added a little bit to the brow bone and to the inner corner of the eye. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add a little bit of detailing to the lips. I'm not going to put full lipstick on, I'm just going to add a little bit to the inner portion of the mouth because I still want it to look sort of relatively creepy, not 100% put together. So I'm going to use the MAC Retro Matte Liquid Lipstick. This is in the shade Young Attitude. It's sort of a tealy, bluish kind of colour. I think it will fit with the whole drowned kind of thing. So let's have a little looky, see how this goes. So like I say, I'm just going to add it to the very inner portion. What I will do is I'm going to take some of the colour Showboat and just dust it around the edges of where the lipstick is. Again, we're going for a relatively messy look. Well, not messy, but just, you know, not particularly put together. So I'm quite liking how that looks. I'm just going to add a little bit more highlighter over the top. So let's do that. I am quite happy with how that looks. Now then. The last thing I'm going to do before mascara, lashes and contacts is try and add some sort of veiny tones, some sort of veins on the face. Now the best thing I have found for this so far is alcohol activated paints. Now you're probably most likely to find these at special effects shops. I'm pretty sure I got mine from Tilt Makeup, so I'll link them down below so you can find it too. They can be fairly pricey. They are pricier than water activated paints. They're pricier than grease paints. So this is the Skin Illustrator On Set palette. Looks like this. Ooh. Ta-da. So as you can see, this has got some fairly basic colours in it, like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of the blue and green tones with, you have to use 99% isopropyl alcohol, otherwise your paints will not activate. Again, this is why it does make it a little bit pricey. However, for doing things like veins and whatnot, alcohol activated paints are really good because you can sort of put it on, tap it over with your finger just to sort of blend it out a little bit and make the skin look more translucent. It's not like a solid line. So let me just show you what I mean. Where's my mirror gone? There's my mirror. Come on, camera. So I'm going to go into the blue with just a regular paintbrush. I think it came off of Amazon or something. And I want it fairly watered down. Just going to really gently paint it on and tap it out with a finger. Paint it on, tap it out with a finger. As you can see, it makes it look far more realistic than if you were to just put on a solid paint line. So again, if I just go over with a little bit of the green tone, just sort of paint it on, tap over, paint it on, tap over. And there we have it. So I'm going to carry on doing these. I'll probably time lapse this bit just so you can see the placement, where I'm putting them, what I'm doing with them, and then we'll be back. Okay, so we're done with the majority. Obviously I've added all of these little doodads. I haven't put any on the chest. I didn't really feel like they were necessary on the chest. I've just done them on the face. But I've added mascara, I've added lashes. They are those ones. Yeah. So they are Unicorn Cosmetics Lemon Meringue lashes. They are beautiful. So we are done with the majority of the face. I've also wetted down my hair. I was filming for so long that it just kind of dried up. But never mind, I just wetted it with some water, I sprayed some leave-in conditioner in there. So the last thing to do is add some blind contact lenses, the white blind contact lenses, and then we'll be ready for the final look. If you're ready, let's go. Okay, so we are done. This is the finished look. I've put the contacts in. I can't really see you guys right now. I can just see a big glowing blur that is my ring light. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below. I hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see you for the next one. Bye!